Well, let's hop right on in on whether we should use AI in performance reviews. Uh, Quick personal introduction to myself. I'm a technical founder. So when I talk about AI, I have a lot of engineering, general engineering, computer engineering background, degrees in chemical engineering, nuclear engineering, medical physics. I've enjoyed playing high stakes poker in the past. That's just kind of a fun side note. And the previous company I started was actually a medical device company where we treated cancer patients with radiation, and we made software around that. So a lot of software expertise in my background, a lot of engineering expertise. So AI is something that I've been using for quite some time, and I think I can provide a unique insight as someone who's both managed a large number of people and someone that has made software and knows the ins and outs of how AI works today and how it's been working in the past. So I really want to start off with the conclusion of where I see AI's role in performance reviews, the things it should do, things it should not. The biggest thing it should do is refine the manager notes into clear, professional, and constructive feedback. We want to make this easier on managers. We want it to summarize performance data trends, but we don't want it to generate new conclusions. When we say AI in performance reviews, this is not we're going to let computers decide what to do with performance reviews. Let computers make overall decisions. That is not the case. What we want them to do is make the process easier. We want them to consolidate data from multiple sources. AI is amazing at giving it tons of different sources, giving it hundreds of pages of data, and saying, hey, look through this, summarize it, pick out the parts that align with the manager notes, and write a complete review. We want it to actively engage managers throughout the process. We want managers to not dread having to give performance reviews because AI is making it easier on them. We want it to ensure consistency and fairness by applying a uniform format to all reviews. We want HR to say, here is how we want our performance reviews to look. And now we know that our thousands, tens of thousands of performance reviews look exactly like this. And then finally, we wanted to provide the initial draft, but have managers have full, of course, edit control and full review of the final performance. We just want it to start that initial draft and make that a much easier process than managers opening up a blank screen and saying, oh, where do I go from here? So that's the overall theory. And then let's talk about all the details. So we're going to talk about generative AI strengths and challenges, why we should use Gen AI in performance management, the data behind performance documents, how Gen AI is used in performance reviews, how we can use an OKR and SMART goal setting, and then overall, how it can improve employee engagement. So all in all, what can generative AI do for you? It is best at summarizing data. It's best at bringing together data from different sources, summarizing it. And it turns out that's what a performance review is. It's taking this huge scope of data and summarizing it, sorting it, and making it into a nice logical format. It's great at taking insights and ideas and combining them with detailed data analysis to generate professional documents. It's really great at the professional wording. And so these two things are generative AI strengths. 2 thumbs up. It's what we should be using it for. It's great for rapid rollout. Generative AI, as it started, was cloud deployed, so it could be used by millions of organizations from day one. It's kind of this first new technology that can be used at that scale that quickly. So it's kind of neat. That's one of the reasons we've seen it really change the business world so quickly. So what can it do for your business? We think productivity, of course. How can we help automate things? How can we make things more efficient? What I like to say more so than productivity, especially when we're talking about performance reviews, is the quality. Generative AI doing all this combining and summarizing and data analysis can actually result in much higher quality documents, whether that's you're doing that for customer service, whether you're doing that for performance reviews. Of course, we want it to be more productive. We want everything to be done more efficiently. But honestly, we also need to think about, at the end of the day, the documents that it produces are much higher quality because it's able to look through so much more data to make these reports. And also helps your business really adopt this data-driven culture to where we can't just say, I think this, I think this. Now that we're looking at all these sources of data and we're able to compile it, and it's not this huge burden on everyone to comb through all the data to document their insights, that's something that we can do. It's something that we can say, well, look, their data is in there somewhere. Let's really focus on what the data says, and let's let that drive our decisions. So what's the catch? Security, I think we've all seen, ChatGPT is super cool, super great at getting a lot of people to use it, but it's not secure at all. And, unless you have an enterprise plan that really restricts access to the data, it's something to be concerned about. It's something that a company like Macorva, everything we do is under SOC 2. We don't use the same ChatGPT interface. There are certainly things you can make this a very secure process. It's just something you need to be aware of. Implementation, you need to make sure that you can't just release a new tool to people and have them immediately use it. That's the other thing that we think through quite a bit in Macorva is how can we make this fit into current processes, make it super, super easy. Again, if we think about ChatGPT, it has a lot of power, but it's just this open book. It's just, this blank page, and you start typing things in and it does exactly what you say. Some employees work really well in that type of environment, but most employees don't. And so we need the implementation to really guide the user in order to unlock that power without making it some big training exercise. And accuracy, we've talked about hallucinations. Everyone's heard about hallucinations. We don't want generative AI to be making up things. Again, at Macorva, that's why we really focus on summarizing. We don't see hallucinations when it's summarizing, but when we ask it to come up with something or be creative, that's when those hallucinations start and the accuracy drops. So again, it's kind of funny. This is something I typed in, create ASCII art of the Mona Lisa, and that's what it made. It's, on one hand, it's a pretty funny example. On the other hand, this is an example of if you don't have an accurate answer and you're just relying on this without a human in the loop to check on things, you may not be producing these high quality results that we're talking about. So generative AI and performance management. Again, productivity. Managers spend about 200 hours a year on performance management. Generative AI, from our studies, we've shown that can cut that in half. The quality, again, data-driven documents. We want rich evidence that are fully utilized. We want high-quality explanations. We want it consistent. We want these reports to be standardized. We want them to have, we want to be able to say, this department, its report should look exactly like this with these sections. This department should look a little bit different. This type of job might be a little bit different, but we want to be able to control the overall template and know that we're getting very consistent adherence to that. And then at the end of the day, we want employees to be satisfied. No one likes getting a hastily written performance review. Obviously, I think at everybody's company, you have managers that are the most amazing people at writing performance review. You have managers that maybe are not quite there. It's the night before they're due, and they do a reasonable job, but maybe it doesn't have that level of, they clearly haven't taken 8 hours to go through and try to cite every little document, every little piece of data. And then ultimately, I haven't really talked to managers that say, I love writing performance reviews. So this is one of those things, is a pain point in every organization, and we want to use AI to make this easier and better. So let's think about when we talk about performance reviews, OKRs, SMART goals, etc., what data does that actually need input into it? 360 feedback, engagement surveys, the team engagement, customer feedback, trends and everything, org chart changes. We need to know how many people, are you managing more people than you were last year, et cetera, et cetera. Sales data, attendance, manager insights, of course, is huge. Self-assessments, company objectives, department objectives. And we need to know the learning and growth programs your company has. If we start looking at this from, okay, where does this data live? On the left, your feedback platform, or Macorva, already houses quite a bit of this data. And we also already connect your HRIS. And so we have things like attendance and compliance, company objectives, learning objectives. So what we do in Macorva is we try to pull all this data together and use it as a good baseline for generating these performance documents. So if we think about everything we've said so far, let's pull that together into what this workflow now looks like. If we want an AI-driven performance management workflow, The first thing we need is to get manager insights. It is still, the manager is at the center of this process. We are not replacing managers with computers. That is not the point. We are using computers to help managers take this task that no one really likes doing, make it more efficient, and make it higher quality. So the first thing we need is for your managers to type great notes. The cool thing about that is they can type notes that talks about the insights they have about their employees. They don't have to worry about finding the right words to describe things because AI is going to help do that. Then the next thing they do after they're done with their insights is they click a button, and that's it. And so now that we have manager insights, now that HR is taking the time behind the scenes to set up the connections to these other data sources, AI does its work. It goes through, it says, okay, here's the manager insights. Here's all this data I have access to, all this stuff we saw on that last screen. Let's pull it together and let's make a performance review. And so, what AI does in our system is it can make a document that's about anywhere between 10 and 50 to 100 pages long, and then use that and start condensing it down into a performance review. And then after AI does that, after it makes that initial draft, managers now, instead of starting from a blank sheet of paper, now they have this very well crafted performance review, and they're able to finalize it. They're able to go through and say, okay, yeah, I think this actually needs a little bit more emphasis. This needs a little bit less emphasis. They go through, they massage it. It's already in the correct format. They didn't have to worry about the formatting. They didn't have to worry about the template. They didn't have to worry about any of that. They didn't have to worry about going through and sourcing all that original data to really emphasize their results. AI did all that for them. And so now they're able to they provide the insights and they edit the final report. And it's a much, much faster and it's a much more enjoyable process for them. And it leads to a higher quality document that employees like. So let's look at some examples. AI performance reviews. This is what we've been talking about primarily. Business impact. It captures the full picture of employee performance. We want it to be in a consistent format. For managers, we want to maximize their analysis and their insights. We don't want them to be bogged down in, is this the right word or not? Okay, now I need to go through and spend hours trying to find relevant examples. Those are things they don't like. It's things that take away their time and things that AI can now do really well. Employees place an enormous amount of significance on their performance reviews. They don't want to see a minimal type of document. They want to see a thoroughly researched, really well put together document. AI is the key to that. AI is the key to doing that in a short amount of time in a process that everyone likes. It ends up being personalized, thoughtful, and constructive. Now, we can also think about employee development plans. Now, all of a sudden, when we bring company objectives into the mix, we know what training programs your company has. We know what learning resources your company has. AI can start putting all that together as well. AI can look through all the documentation on that employee, all their performance, and start making recommendations of, hey, you know what? Let's recommend these types of plans that your company has. And again, it gives managers that first draft. Does that mean that you just use AI to do that? No. But if we say, hey, AI, can you recommend 5 learning courses and then have a manager narrow that down to 3? Again, it makes it to where they don't have to do that initial work for that first draft. It makes it a much more efficient process. And it's a good way for every employee to get this personalized development program. OKRs and SMART goals. Another thing we've been talking about. Another thing that managers don't really like to make. It takes a lot of time. Again, now that we have your company goals, your department goals, we have your employees' performance. Again, this is one of the things that we love to do is we have AI make the first 5 OKRs or SMART goals, and then managers narrow that down to 2 or 3. And so again, they don't start from a blank sheet of paper. They start from a really well-researched, really well-documented base, and then they go through and they edit. And for something like this, editing is great when they can just narrow it down from 5 to 2 or 3 and then make a couple small changes. So we've seen this process work so well. It reduces the amount of time by, we say in performance reviews, at half the amount of time. For something like this, we've seen it can do 75, 80% reduction in time because AI is so good at coming up with the first draft. PIPs. It's something that, it takes a lot of HR time. What's nice about this is that AI is really good at saying, here are 5 examples of previous PIPs we've done. We need to do a new PIP with this information, and it's really good at learning from those examples and saying, okay, I understand the structure, I understand all the sections you have, let's recreate that. So it ends up saving a lot of HR time. PIPs end up having a lot of documentation around them, and so now using AI to do that is just a really big efficiency savings. So let's think about what drives employee engagement. Statements that we hear employees make that say, I am a motivated employee. I feel motivated, I can make a difference. The unbiased feedback inside examples in my performance review is both affirming and motivating. I have opportunities for growth and development. This development plan mirrors what I want it to see. I know I'm valued. I like that my manager spent the time to make this really nice performance document, and it wasn't something that clearly last night was done at the last minute. I understand my role and impact on the organization. This is one of those things that we've seen come up over and over and over and over again. It's actually been one of the biggest wins in rolling out performance management with AI to a lot of institutions, is that we've seen time and time again, employees, when they see this is how my goal relates to the company goal, relates to the department goal, this is exactly how I'm helping this company succeed, that really drives engagement. That really helps them feel motivated to do a good job. So the big picture for me is, what if you had the best manager in your entire company write all your reviews, development plans, and goals? Imagine the impact that would be if you could somehow have that person do all of the performance documentation. How's that going to affect your employee engagement? It's going to go through the roof. It really is helpful. What value does that bring to your company? And then, of course, one of the things we like to say is, how amazing would you look if you're the one that helped bring that change? This is one of those cool things that is an HR-led thing, and as they show this to the C-suite, as they show it to other executive leaders, it's a really cool thing that everyone says, oh, wow, this is extremely helpful. I can see the efficiency gain. I can see the quality gain. I am excited to implement this. So it really helps HR be the hero, because we're taking this process that no one likes, is not fun, and we're making it faster, we're making it easier, we're making it better. AI does a really great job of going through all of these things, and HR is the one that has to go through and say, okay, look, we made these templates. We understand that it needs access to, these couple data sources. So we set that up ahead of time. We did a small pilot study in order to make sure that the performance reviews are coming out in the right format. We that are consistent with what we've done in the past. And we have done the effort to put all this in place for our organization. So now, for our next 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 performance reviews, when you click a button, you're going to get really close to that final performance review. And it's really cool. And HR ends up being the hero of the story. So in conclusion, generative AI and performance management are a fantastic match. It's not because we're letting computers decide performance management. It's not that at all. It's because we're able to use the parts of generative AI that it does the best. It's able to summarize. It's able to look at hundreds of pages of data. It's able to pull all that together. It's able to get the manager insights and then use that to structure its format. It's able to produce great wording on the first draft, and then to make this initial draft of a performance review in a matter of seconds. So all those are the strengths. And then the results are increased efficiency. We're able to save up to 100 hours per manager per year. And the managers, of course, are the more highly paid individuals. So it ends up having an enormous ROI. And even above and beyond that, I like the enhanced quality. We're able to give really high quality performance reviews to every single employee, because AI is doing the setup we've done ahead of time to make sure we're getting all this information. It's able to do these really nice performance reviews. We boost employee engagement. Employees see that their performance reviews are very thoughtful, very thorough, and they really like it. They really appreciate it. They are able to see that they have customized, personalized development plans that they really resonate with. Better alignment. Again, everyone loves seeing, here's how my goals link to company goals, link to department goals. It's something that, we've seen maybe some managers do really well right now. Some managers maybe don't do that as well. And so those managers that do it well, they're probably going to have more engaged employees. By using AI to make the first draft, we can make sure every manager does this very well. and it's really cool. We have this innovative approach, generative AI. Everyone hears about it. Everyone says this is going to change the workforce. Here is a great example of how it actually does change the workforce. So thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and answer any questions everybody has. All right, the first question from, let's see, Joanne. What steps should we take to assess current technology before rolling out AI and performance review? That is one of the things that our customer success team works with you immediately on is, okay, what parts of these buckets, if I go back to the this slide, which parts of these do we need to connect to? And it ends up just being an integration step. It's pretty straightforward. And I will say the more we have, the more platforms we have connected, the better, but it's not required. If we have 10 different platforms connected, that first draft is going to be, 90% of the way there. If we have 1 or 2 platforms connected, that first draft is going to be 70 or 80% of the way there. The biggest thing we're looking for is the manager insights, and then using the rest of this data to supplement that. So very good. Let's see, Carl asked, what about bias? A bias is something that we take very, very seriously. And it's something that we internally look at. And one of the cool things we have in our performance review workflow is a bias detection of the final draft. And so we actually go through and no matter if the AI wrote it, no matter if the manager wrote it, we reanalyze that and we make sure every statement is unbiased, every statement is supported by data. And then we will show that to the manager if something doesn't meet that criteria and give them a chance to go through and review. And then the back of the system for HR, for legal, we also assign that a numerical score so we can triage that if legal does want to review those performance reviews before they're released to employees. Let's see, Lindsay, how can we ensure the introduction of AI and performance reviews is perceived positively by employees? That is a great question. Macorva and our platform, we go through, we make sure we are really emphasizing what the things that employees need to know, the things that managers need to know, which is this is not AI making decisions. This is AI being used to help produce initial drafts. And so that is the biggest thing that you want to make sure the message is coming from the company, the message is coming from the platform they're using. This is not something where we're just having computers run wild and decide things. This is something where the manager is in the loop every step of the way and guiding the process. And what AI is doing is it is helping them look through an enormous amount of data. It's helping them, do that first draft. It's helping them with formatting. It's helping them with wording. It's helping them look through all this data. It is not making decisions for them. Logan asked, what timeline should we expect for a full rollout of AI and performance reviews? That is very variable. We have seen 1 week, we've seen a couple months. Some things that you probably want to do is
Hi, everyone. I think we are having a little bit of technical issues. We'll give
almost all 2 to 5 performance reviews. Normally take a small group and look at that and look at the final results. And so full rollout, usually a week or 2, sometimes a couple months. It really depends on your internal process. And then Tristan, how can we test effectiveness of AI performance reviews on a small scale? Well, that was actually part of the rollout is you tend to, small scale is absolutely the case there. You want to do a small group of performance reviews, 2 to 5, and look and see what the results are. And then, that is kind of a quick little test. It only takes like, a couple hours or a day just to do some mock data, look at what the final performance review looks like for those couple employees. And then you feel really confident because, again, HR's role in this process is now setting up templates, it's setting up the overall process, it's setting up the big picture, and then your managers actually perform it and do it on a smaller scale. Sarah, what kind of training is typically required for HR teams to effectively implement this? Very little. What we've done in Macorva is we have a wizard that walks managers through each step. We have email notifications that say, hey, it's time for you to provide your insights. Click here, and it takes them right to that screen, and they have a template, and it shows them the insights. Most of the training is really setting up the templates. Most training is making sure that we tell HR, here's what you should relay to employees. AI is being used as a helper, not as a decision maker. And the actual software, again, it's not like ChatGPT where you just have this blank canvas and it can do all these different things. We really, really constrict it to, here is the workflow, enter this in now, click this, and now review this. And so we keep it very, very constrained to where it's very easy for people to use. And we found that works extremely, extremely well. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And please let us know if you have any questions. And again, AI and performance reviews, I think is a slam dunk. Again, while people talk about efficiency, in my mind, what we've seen the biggest wins in is increasing that quality of the performance documents. And so that's really what you should have in the back of your mind as you think about an AI performance review system. Thank you for your time. Have a great week.